Welcome to Unity of Bellevue. I'm Reverend Marla Mason, and this is our online spiritual experience of spiritual community. This morning, we are powerful, we are blessed, and we know who we are and what we belong to. And I'm so grateful to welcome you into that energy today. Here at Unity, we love God and we love one another. We're practicing that every moment of the day. We grow in our spiritual understanding. We grow in our understanding of spiritual truth and how to apply that truth in the world. And we serve the greater good. We serve God. We serve the God in each human being that we see here on planet Earth. And so I'm so grateful to welcome you to Unity this morning as we step into two holidays today. Let me talk first about Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all of our dads and all of our fathers of creativity and creation. I am happy to welcome you into this celebration. You know, it's a time when we celebrate the masculine side of creation, and I want to honor our dads. If you're a dad, like give us a something. I see Vic. I see Jim. He's not giving us a something. Looks like Dick Kinney. We have a lot of dads in our community. I want to bless you and welcome you today, a day that we traditionally honor our dads. I also want to recognize my dad. He's been gone for about 10 years now. And I say gone, he's living in some other realm of existence for about 10 years now. And I deeply appreciate him. And I deeply appreciate the men of our community and those who are masculine identified. Thank you for everything you do for us. The second special thing that's happening today is Juneteenth. And, you know, the way I was thinking of this, I was like, oh my gosh, we have a new Independence Day in the United States of America. We have a new Independence Day, a new Emancipation Day, a new Black Independence Day, and it's called Juneteenth. And at the same time, I want to be really clear that what's new is maybe not so new, because Juneteenth has been celebrated for over 100 years. Juneteenth has been celebrated since 1866, and it honors and recognizes and acknowledges the day that the news of emancipation reached the enslaved people in Texas. What happened is there was a general order actually enforcing the Emancipation Proclamation 2 years after it was signed by President Lincoln. And so, although this is an honoring and a celebration that has gone on for over 100 years, our country has decided it's time for us to acknowledge that. And what a beautiful thing to sign into law a new federal holiday that is Juneteenth. And I'm super grateful for that. But I've also been really reflecting what a lovely symbol, what a powerful symbol of our commitment to really step boldly into healing, resolving our racial issues in this country. But it's only a symbol. It's only a symbol. We must continue the work in our daily lives of recognizing and loving and acknowledging all people, regardless of where they come from, or who they are, or how they express. What we do is we recognize the divinity that they are. And we honor and we celebrate every day of our lives the divinity that every corner of creation is. And we live from a place of equality and equity and justice for all. So let's allow this new holiday, this new old holiday, to remind us of our commitment to advocating for civil and human rights for everyone in the United States and in the world. So those are our two holidays today. Let's set an intention around honoring dads and the masculine side of creation, and honoring those who were enslaved and those who have been set free. And let us really, truly step into true freedom for everyone, all of us, true freedom for all of us. Okay, sermonette is over. We have some music for you today. Actually, I have some people for you today. I want to talk just a little bit about who is serving you today. First, Susan Neidig, thank you for a beautiful meditation service this morning. I'm really grateful for you. She's also serving as our prayer chaplain today, so she'll be available to pray with you after the service. Also today, we have Sharon Wolf is our board representative today, and you will hear from her a little bit later during the offering. I want to thank Monica McDowell Elvig as our center administrator, and she's sort of a co-producer today because she's managing the music, so give her a little bit of love. And Sabrina, who is holding it down. She is our producer today, and I'm super grateful for her and for her gifts and her willingness to serve our community so beautifully. So these are the people who are making it happen for you this morning. And I know that Monica has some music for you. The music is coming from Leah Morris, who has been a guest in our community before. I adore her. She lives on the East Coast. I personally would like to import her to the Seattle area so that she could be with us every Sunday of the year. Let's see what Leah Morris has to remind us of and anchor us in song this morning.
I'm not a lone wolf, and I never was. Anything I achieve it because I am standing on the shoulders of an infinite many, seen and unseen. I'm not a lone wolf, and I never was. Anything I achieve it because I am riding on a tidal wave of universal longing. I'm dropping the high, I'm claiming the we, I'm feeling the everything inside of me. I'm dropping the mine, I'm claiming the ours, cause the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. I'm dropping the high, I'm claiming the we, I'm feeling the everything inside of me. I'm dropping the mine, I'm claiming the ours, cause I recognize how connected we are. Every tear that was ever shed, and every prayer that was ever said, and every gesture on every day weaves us into the dancing. This is love's way. Oh, every tear that was ever shed, and every prayer that was ever said, and every step on every day leads us into belonging. This is love's way. Every tear that was ever shed, and every prayer that was ever said, and every gesture on every day leads us into the dancing. This is love's way. Every tear that was ever shed, and every prayer that was ever said, and every step on every day leads us into belonging. This is love's way. Oh, oh.
This is love's way. Inclusion, justice, power and grace for all. And we lift ourselves now into that very heart of that love, into the heart of the Spirit from which we have all sprung, that which loved us enough to place us here on planet Earth to do a great and mighty work, to do God's work. And we simply surrender to that awareness right here and right now that we are of love, we are from love, and so we must be love. And in that consciousness, we allow ourselves to embody love, to radiate love, to walk in love, to speak love, to feel love, to be always the presence of love in every experience of our lives. And on this day, as we honor our fathers, as we honor those who were once enslaved in this country, we radiate love, acceptance, joy, justice, equity, equality, empowerment, and grace for all. And it's in this consciousness, in this awareness, that I open this service knowing that it is a source of inspiration and delight for all. The music and the message and the community we share, everything conspires to take us deeper in love with ourselves and with one another and with the God of our being. And so I give thanks for the opportunity to come together in spirit today. I give thanks for all that is about to unfold and for the deepening that takes place at the core of it. I call it good and I let it go. And so it is. Amen. I'm going to read through today's affirmation. And as I do that, I invite you to just relax into it. Just allow the words to wash over you and to penetrate you, your mind, your body, your soul. Allow these words of spiritual truth to be your words in your mind and in your body and in your true self. Hear these words. Freedom is my birthright, and ever-increasing awareness is my path. I effortlessly release old ideas of lack and limitation. Enough, I say. That is all illusion. And I open my heart completely to the experience of perfect freedom in all areas of my life. I am set free by my willingness to be free, and it is done. And so it is. And breathe those words in. And now own them by speaking them aloud and with conviction with me. Freedom is my birthright, and ever-increasing awareness is my path. I effortlessly release all old ideas of lack and limitation. Enough, I say. That is all illusion. And I open my heart completely to the experience of perfect freedom in all areas of my life. I am set free by my willingness to be free, and it is done. And so it is. Amen.
There's so much to appreciate, even when the world seems out of hand. Even when we do not understand, still there's so much. There's so much to be grateful for, even in the temptation to grieve. Let us take a moment just to breathe and recognize there's so much. There's so much that is wonderful, even in the midst of loss and change. There's a chance that something new begins, and don't you want that so much? I know we need it so much.
So much. We've been given so much. We are so deeply blessed and so richly provided for. That only appears to be not true when we forget that it is true. And, you know, our job then becomes to remind ourselves to, if we can't remind ourselves, to find someone who can remind us. See, this is part of why we have prayer chaplains and ministers and prayer partners and small groups and classes and all of the things that we offer, because we are having this human experience. We're in the midst of a human experience. And in that human experience, we can forget our source and our strength. And when we forget our source and our strength, sometimes I just need to go sit down on the pillow and, meditate for a little bit and it's right back, or say myself a little prayer and it's right back. Sometimes I got to call my prayer partner. Sometimes I got to connect with a practitioner. Sometimes I need somebody to help me go deep. And all month long this month, we're talking about the 4 Agreements, the book by Don Miguel Ruiz. And what I'm recognizing is that as we are going through each one of the agreements each week this month, I'm being presented with lots of opportunities to keep or break those agreements. And when I'm feeling tempted to break those agreements, or when I break those agreements because I forgot to keep them, I'm recognizing those are the times that I'm feeling most separate. Those are the times that I've forgotten who I am. And I need to stop and remind myself. And then it becomes so easy to keep those agreements when I stop and remember the truth of who I am and what I belong to, that this little fearful little thing that's happening right here is not it. It's not me. I am part of something greater. I am part of an infinite divinity that is expressing so perfectly. And I am sourced by that. I am sourced by that. I don't have to, my little thing doesn't have to create anything. I am sourced by something. Think of a single light bulb is sourced by an energy grid. That if all of the energy of that grid went into the one light bulb, it would just kind of but we're like the light bulb. We're like the light bulb. Infinite source lights us, is behind us, sources us. And I just shine. My job is just to shine. Be a conduit through which that light can express itself. And so the first week, if you remember, we talked about the first agreement, which is, how many of you said it to yourselves or perhaps to someone you're with? Be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. You see, what we talked about in the first week is the idea that this realm of matter that we're in is a mirror. It's a mirror for what we really think and what we really believe and who we really are deep, deep, deep inside. And the world just reflects back to us what we put out into it. And if what we're putting out into it is woundedness, it will reflect back to us woundedness. And as we do our spiritual work, as we heal and as we grow and as we deepen in spirit, the world reflects back to us that new awareness, the new consciousness, the new beingness. As we become more, dare I say it, godlike, as we embody in consciousness the peace of God, the love of God, the presence of God, that peace, that love, that presence begins to reflect back to us. And in order to move us from state of consciousness A to state of consciousness B, which, let me just say, it's a continuum, right? It's over here and over here. It's like, when we're completely healed, we don't have to be on this planet anymore, right? So I'm not talking about you're going to get to state of consciousness B and be 100% healed. It's that onion theory, right? I know y'all are familiar with this idea that, life is the journey. And so we will always be on the journey to state of consciousness B. But what we need to do, according to Don Miguel Ruiz, in order to move us along the journey, is form new agreements out of our woundedness, out of our fears, out of, the decisions that we made about life. We made certain agreements with life. And he's proposing there are 4 agreements in this book. There actually is a 5th one, that if we make these 4 agreements with life, it will start reflecting back to us more fully and more perfectly the state, the nature of the infinite. And so the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. Remember, impeccable is without sin, right? Be without sin in your word. Speak words of truth. Speak words that are on the mark. Speak words that are life affirming. Be impeccable with your word, because your word is creative, and your word creates the mirror, right? And will reflect back, the world will reflect back to you what you speak into it. And then last week we talked about agreement number 2, don't take anything personally. Oh my gosh. You know, we talked about how sometimes we get brought to our knees by circumstance, and if that's happening, we're probably not keeping one of the 4 agreements. And taking things personally is the one in which we really we really think that, you know, something someone says or does is all about me. Have you ever done that? It's not about us. That's the second agreement. Don't take it personally. It's not about you. You just think it's about you. And interestingly enough, because the world is a mirror, if we think it's about us, it becomes about us, right? And we start berating ourselves, or we start being mad at that person or whatever. And it actually does become about us. But if we can get curious, not furious, remember we talked about that? If we can get curious, not furious, release our hurt, release our confusion, release our all of those reactions to what someone might say or do that come out of our woundedness, and instead embrace love, be impeccable with our word. No, what is it that I am really afraid of? What is the false idea or the false belief that I am really protecting? Asking ourselves, you know, am I willing not to suffer? Am I willing to let that person say whatever it is that they say, and I don't have to suffer for it? Am I willing to stay my mind on God, to stay my mind on spiritual truth, to stay my mind on that which is real? Remember, this realm that seems so real is not what's real. This is the illusion, according to Don Miguel Ruiz, and according to the Buddhists, and according, you know, it's like, I think that is a really true spiritual teaching. This is not what's real. This is the illusion. In the realm of what is real and lasting, what has true staying power, is that infinite energy that we call God. And so if we put our attention, if we stay our minds on God, we no longer have to take things personally, and we are set free from the effects, feeling hurt, feeling bad about ourselves, getting angry with others. We are free of the effects of taking things personally. And then today, who knows what the third agreement is? Third agreement, this is a tough one for me. Don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions. They say third time's magic, right? Don't make assumptions. I looked it up in the dictionary, assumption. And what the dictionary says about that word is that when we assume something, we are taking something for granted. And here was my favorite word from the dictionary definition. The word is supposing. Like, we suppose something. We make stuff up. When we are assuming things, we are making stuff up. There are perhaps gaps that we don't even recognize they're gaps, because making assumptions is so automatic. We just fill in the gaps with our own story, not realizing that there was even a gap in the first place. And we're walking around thinking A, B, C, D, E, when what's really true is X, Y, Z. Because we made up a story. We supposed something. We filled in the gaps. And the challenge with making assumptions is it just perpetuates the illusion, right? It just makes it gives the illusion more power. You see, when I make an assumption, well, actually, let's talk about it this way. There's a process that happens when we make an assumption. So what happens is there's an event, a conversation, perhaps, or something happens out in the world, and we make an assumption. We fill in the gap. We make up a story that fills the gap. Oftentimes then what happens is we take it personally, and then we get unimpeccable with our word, and we start gossiping with the story we filled in the gap with, not the truth. We don't even know what the truth is. All we know is the story that we filled in the gap with. So here's a really good example. My beloved Patty, she has what she and I like to call an alternative relationship with time. And early in our relationship, that was an interesting situation for us because I have a timing relationship with time, if you will. And so we might say something like, leave at 9:30. Sure, let's leave at 9:30. And I make an assumption that 9:30 means the same thing to both of us. And so it's 9:30 and I'm in the car with my bag and the keys out. And she's brushing her teeth and, looking for her shoes. And I'm like, it's 9:30. And then, do you see, I make up stories. You didn't keep your word. I can't trust you. I make up all kinds of stories about what this means that you weren't in the car at 9:30. And then she gets in the car and I've taken it personally, right? And I become unimpeccable with my word. You're late. What's wrong with you? And then, see, out of her woundedness, she hears that. You guys are getting like the whole relationship dynamic with Patty and I. She hears that and she takes it personally, right? And then she becomes unimpeccable with her word. And next thing you know, it's not a very pleasant drive wherever it is we were going. And it probably saved our relationship. The day it actually occurred to me to ask her, when we say we're leaving at 9:30, what does that mean to you? I'm embarrassed by how long it took me, by how long it took both of us to figure out that 9:30 means one thing to me and another thing to her. And she said, well, it's like, you're ready to go, it's like, and then I had to ask, well, what does ready to go mean to you? Well, I kind of got my stuff together, and see, to me, 9:30 means you're pulling out of the driveway. You know what I'm saying? And as I began to understand her relationship with what 9:30 means and what ready means, I began to pierce through the illusion and see the truth. And I began to have an opportunity to ask myself some questions that we're going to talk about a little later and get to the root of what it was about for me. Here's another example. One time my boss said, I know you've been hot for this project for a while. Why don't you get me a proposal by Friday? I think we might be able to get it funded. I'm sitting in his office and I'm like, in my head, I didn't do this out loud. See, that's the problem. That's the assumption. In my head, I'm like, by Friday? Seriously? Don't you know I have 18 other things to do by Friday? But I want the project. I want to please my boss. I go back to my office, and because I deliver, I find a way to get a really decent proposal on Friday. I go into his office on Friday. I set it down on his desk, and he says, "What's this?" And I said, "It's the proposal." And he says, I just wanted a little, I got like 14 pages, with interviews and, cost estimates and all kind of things. He's like, no, I just wanted a 1-page overview. It's like of what your ideas are. I'm like, oh my gosh, I spent so much time this week because I made an assumption, because I didn't ask questions, because I didn't ask when he said, pull together a proposal for me by Friday. I didn't ask, what do you want? What does proposal mean to you? 1-page overview or 14 pages? You see, I filled in the story of what proposal meant. And the key part to understand is most of the time, the story we fill in is born of our woundedness. We fill in the gaps with our not enoughness. So think about this. My dad was a high school band director, and he was a good high school band director. He had award-winning bands, very well respected and very well known in his community. My dad was on time. My dad had 150 kids, 200 kids to herd around. They got 15 seconds to get onto the field for the halftime show, right? They got 2 minutes to load 3 buses to get to the, you know what I mean? It's like, and he was a rhythm guy, and he was obsessively on time. In fact, my dad's theory was, if I got 150 kids and I waste 1 minute, I've wasted 150 minutes. Things happened on time in our house. And if they didn't happen on time, there was, some shame around it and blame and, that kind of thing. And so what was really happening when I filled in the story about Patty's late, how come she doesn't keep her word? How come she doesn't respect me? What was really happening was all of the old shame and fear about what's going to happen if I'm not on time. When I'm sitting in my boss's office and he says, proposal by Friday, I filled in the gaps in the story with all of my, I have to do 10 times better than anybody else, which is born of my woundedness, born of my, I'm not good enough. And so instead of saying to him, what does that mean to you? What does proposal mean to you? I immediately fill in the gaps with, I've got to create the best proposal that's ever been written in this department in the history of humankind. And it has to be complete, and it has to be 100%, and it has to be, all of the things in order to deal with, the feelings and the fears that are coming up in me. Here's another great example. I was consulting for a company once, and the company made the announcement at Thanksgiving that they were not going to do, they had always gifted Thanksgiving turkeys to their staff people. And they made the announcement that year that they were not going to do Thanksgiving turkeys to their staff people. And I watched this company come undone. The gaps that people filled in to the story about no Thanksgiving turkeys this year, oh my God, we're going down. Everybody's going to get laid off. The business is going to close. There's going to be layoffs in January. It's like, and the stories that people made up about why no Thanksgiving turkeys this year. And I finally, I was a consultant there, and I went to leadership. I said, you got to come up with why we're not doing Thanksgiving stories, because these people are losing their minds. And, I forget what it was. It was a technical difficulty. I was trying to remember. It was like, they couldn't get them, for some kind of a reasonable price. It was going to cost them 3 times as much as it had ever cost them before. And they decided to do something a little bit different and a little bit more reasonable for their budget. It was not a big deal, and it had nothing to do with anything. But out of their fears, their security fears, their woundedness, people were the power of assumptions to perpetuate the illusion. When something happens, the story we make up out of it is from our woundedness. Whether it's no turkeys, write me a report, whatever it might be, we perpetuate the illusion, because when we make an assumption, it leads us to taking things personally. I'm angry, I'm hurt, I don't understand. And then we become unimpeccable with our word, and we start to gossip, and we start to complain. We perpetuate the illusion, all because we were unwilling to take responsibility for asking one little question. What do you really want? Oh, what really happened? I heard ABC happened. What really happened? To somebody who actually knows, right? So here's how you know if you've made an assumption. You've made an assumption if you're taking things personally. And you've made an assumption if you're being impeccable with your word. If you're taking something personally, if you're gossiping or complaining, you've probably taken something, you've probably made an assumption about something. And I'm inviting us, as I talked about last week, and talked briefly in review today, I'm inviting us to become curious, not furious, to become willing to ask questions, to find out what's really going on, to find out who people really are, to find out what events really are, not who we think they are, not what we think they are, but to get to the truth. And here's the thing, we're truth students. Unity is a truth teaching. Nothing is more important than truth. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You are not free if you do not know the truth. As truth students, it is our, the word that came to me was obligation, but it's really opportunity to ask good questions, to dive deep, to get clear about what is the truth here in this human realm, in the realm of illusion. What is the truth? What are the facts? I want to truly understand, because I have to tell you, we make decisions out of our assumptions all the time, don't we? And if you're going to make a decision out of your assumptions, you're probably going to make a bad decision. The right information makes the right decision. The right information makes the right decision when we truly understand who people are. When we truly understand the story, we can lean back just in the comfort and the recognition that God is good and all is well, that something wonderful is happening here, and that whatever is happening, God means all things for good, always. Always. That's from, go check out the story in the Hebrew Bible. God means all things for good. We'll do a whole service on that some point. God means all things for good. And so we have to transcend our assumptions and lift ourselves into a new idea. And I love Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, because he says we have to ask the empowering question. See, I don't know about you, but oftentimes I ask the disempowering question, like, well, what's up with that? That's not a very empowering question, is it? Dr. Michael says we have to ask the empowering question. And he has a few of them. And I think if we ask ourselves these kinds of questions, we will find ourselves steering clear of making assumptions. The first question that he says we have to ask is, what is the nature of my relationship with? So I might ask, when I'm feeling upset with Patty because we haven't left yet, I might ask, what is the nature of my relationship with time? What is the nature of my relationship with lateness? You see, and then if I'm really being honest, I begin to think back and I remember how structured home was around time, and how fearful I was at times about not being on time, and how much shame I had sometimes about some of those things. And I go, oh, wow, guess what? This isn't really about Patty at all. What did I tell you last weekend? Don't take anything personally. It's not about that person. Do you know what I mean? This is about me and my woundedness. And I'm taking it personally because I've been unwilling to recognize this fact. And so what is the nature of my relationship with time? What is the nature of my relationship with, think about this situation with my boss. What is the nature of my relationship with wanting to do well? What is the nature of my relationship with my boss? Am I trying to impress him all the time? Do I trust that he trusts me? Do I trust that he knows I do good work? Do I trust him enough to say, gosh, you've asked me for that proposal. What does that mean to you? What would that look like? Do I trust him enough to ask him? And you see, I didn't ask him because all my shame was up. And from a place of shame, we can't ask. We have to, ask, what's the nature of my relation? Oh gosh, all my shame is up. And then we ask ourselves question 2, what can I learn about my relationship with time? What is the nature of my relationship with time? What can I learn about the nature of my relationship time? And what does my shame tell me about my relationship with time? Do you see how these become empowering questions? And see, what we tend to ask is, what's wrong with me? How come I'm always mad at Patty when she's running late? That's not a very empowering question, is it? What's wrong with me? Or even, even less helpful, what's wrong with Patty? Right? But if I can turn within, what is the nature of my relationship with lateness, with time? What can I learn about me from my relationship with time, or with my company, or with job security? If you think about the turkey example, with my job security, what is the nature of my relationship with security, with safety? And then your third question is, why didn't I just ask? Why didn't I just ask? The first time Patty was late, or okay, maybe the second or third time, why didn't I just say, hey, honey, I notice, we leave late often. Did you hear that? We leave late often, not you're late a lot. It seems like we leave for stuff later than we planned often. Like, what does it mean to you that we're leaving at 9:30? What does it mean to you to be ready to leave? Let's have a conversation about this. Why didn't I ask? Most of the time we didn't ask because of fear, right? Because of shame, or because, what will they think of me if I ask? Have you ever done that one? Oh, they might think I'm stupid. They probably think I don't understand. They probably think, right? Who cares if they think you're stupid? Don't take it personally, right? It's not about you. If they think you're stupid, it's about them. You're not stupid. Just ask. You're smart when you ask. You're smart. You're just smart. You're perfect, whole, and complete. There's nothing wrong with any of us. We live in an illusion, but we can pierce the illusion by making new agreements with life, by making friends with truth, by speaking only words of truth about anything and anyone, by not taking things personally, by not making assumptions. We make these new agreements with life, and we begin to penetrate the veil. We begin to penetrate the illusion and get to the truth, which is what we are doing here. The journey is why we are here. The journey toward the journey of emancipation, of freedom. The truth will set you free. Always. Now, I do want to say there is one assumption you can make. In my experience, I have learned that there is, for me anyway, one okay assumption. And that is the assumption of positive intent. That no matter what's happening in your world, in your community, if we assume positive intent on the part of everyone involved, we will be speaking truth. We will be believing truth, I believe, because here's the thing. The spiritual truth is at the deepest level. We do, I believe, all have positive intent. We all want to be happy. We all want to experience more of the truth of who we are. When we are acting out of our woundedness, we're trying to be happy, right? We're using our woundedness as a protection, right? Or we're protecting our woundedness because we're trying to make ourselves safe. Well, that's a positive intent. I want to feel safe. Who doesn't want to, anybody here not want to feel safe in the world? We all want to feel safe, right? And so sometimes the way I feel safe is protecting my wounds. And in some cases, that's even appropriate. Does that make sense? You know, I mean, you don't want to just like put it all out there in an unsafe situation. So at the positive, at its deepest level, I believe that, we're all just trying to get more love. We're all just trying to get more peace. We're all just trying to get more happy. And our intent at that deepest level is positive. Now, by the time it kind of filters through our woundedness, maybe, in a sense, it's not positive. Maybe somebody is really, there's an intent to actually hurt someone, right? Does that make sense? But the need to hurt is coming from something deeper, a need to feel safe, a need to feel loved, a need to feel okay. Have you ever lashed out at anyone inappropriately? I have. All I was doing was protecting myself and trying to feel better about myself. And that's positive intent. And you know what? Even if I'm completely wrong about this, because trust me, I've been wrong a few times in my life, 2, 3, 4, maybe. Okay. Even if I'm wrong and it's okay to assume positive intent, so what? Let's just say some people don't have any layer of positive intent anywhere deep, deep down inside. Okay, I was wrong, but I'm going to be a happier person. I'm going to create more joy in the world. I'm going to pierce the illusion more fully by assuming positive intent. You with me? All right. So let's take the sacred breath and practice. Practice sealing the power of this message in our practice of life. I invite you to go forward this week and practice not making assumptions. So turn within and breathe with me and allow yourself to sink into the awareness of something greater than you are, the truth of oneness, of unity, the truth of the infinite energy that we call God, the living one, its life, right where you are. For you are created in its image and likeness, perfect, whole, complete, right here and right now. It is the truth of you now. It was the truth of you then. It is the truth of you always. You cannot be separate from your good, for we are all created from the infinite good. And I just know that we are all lifted in our conscious awareness of this spiritual truth right now. And I invite you to bring to mind a recent time that you have made an assumption about an event, about a request, about a person, about a story. And bring to mind a time that you learned something and perhaps filled in the gaps with your own story. And as you rest in this awareness of this event or this communication, begin to allow yourself to know what is the nature of your relationship with whatever is pertinent to your story. Love, time, peace. What is the nature of my relationship with this person, this feeling? And you simply allow the awareness to come from deep within you that something is calling you to a richer, more powerful healing right now. The nature of your relationship with this feeling, with this experience, is clear to you now. As you ask yourself this question, what can I learn about my relationship with this experience? What can I learn? I said that a little bit wrong. What can I learn from my relationship with this experience? What can I learn from my relationship with my woundedness, my shame? And boldly and with confidence, knowing that you are sourced by the infinite presence that is oh so beautiful and good. You simply allow the answers to make themselves known. As you ask yourself this third empowering question, how will I move forward differently now? What is mine to do, to say? How will I move forward differently? Perhaps your opportunity is to stop taking it personally. Perhaps your opportunity is to be impeccable with your word, stop gossiping and complaining. Perhaps your moving forward is to go to the source and get the truth. Perhaps your moving forward is to fill in the gaps with what is real. Love, peace, joy, presence. Perhaps your moving forward is simply releasing all of the old and stepping forth into a bold new awareness that you are willing to ask questions, empowering questions, that you no longer let your fears and your not good enoughs limit your experience of life, for you know the truth of who you are and what you belong to. And you know that this quest for truth is the quest for life. And in the quest, you are set free. See yourself free. Know you are already free. And now give thanks. As you commit in your heart to move boldly forward into this new experience of life, being impeccable with your word, never taking things personally, and not making assumptions, except for the assumption of positive intent. And so I close this message with a grateful heart, knowing that we have been transformed. We are willing, we are open to the truth. We are willing, we are open to freedom. And so it is. Amen.
Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark as you honor the dark. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark.
Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. Oh, we have so much to be grateful for. This last hour, we're grateful for a beautiful meditation, for beautiful music, and for an amazing message, reminding us not to make assumptions and just ask. As we enter this time of giving of our financial support, we ask, if you're new to our community, we welcome you and we invite you to go out to our website and explore all that we have to offer. Please reach out to us so that we can learn how to best serve you. If you are so led, please feel free to give, but please don't feel obligated. You'll see on your screen different ways that you can give of your financial support to Unity of Bellevue. For those of us who call this our spiritual home, we give as part of our spiritual practice, affirming our own abundance. We understand that we are channels through which the good that God is flows and flows abundantly. Our financial support represents our commitment to awakening people to their spiritual nature and creating a vibrant, thriving spiritual community. So we give generously with open hearts to this place where we love, grow, and serve. So in this consciousness, please join me as we declare our offering affirmation together. I give freely and for the joy of giving. I know that seeds sown in love produce an overflowing harvest of good for me, for this center, and for all people. Lovingly, I give. Joyfully, I receive. And so it is.
And I just speak a word of gratitude for these gifts, for the giver, for the rich abundance of this community. I give thanks that we are sourced by the infinite source and that we walk in prosperity every moment of every day. And so I consecrate these gifts to the good use of our center and to the blessing of the world through the gift of our own tithe. And so it is. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Monica McDowell-Elvig. I'm your center administrator. We welcome you with open hearts. If you are here for the first time, we invite you to consider continuing your own journey on all of our paths to freedom for everyone. If you would like to stay in touch with us, the best way to do that, since everything is still online for a little bit longer, the best way to stay in touch is to go to our website, unityofbellevue.org. At the bottom of every page is a sign-up form for our weekly e-newsletter that has everything that's happening at our center in it every week. So I'll look for your sign-up, and if you sign up, I'm happy to send you a welcome packet welcoming you to Unity of Bellevue. Some announcements for this week. Our prayer chaplain today is Susan Neidig. She'll be on 3 minutes after the end of the service for a virtual prayer circle. You just sign up during the last slide to go into that breakout room, and she will be happy to pray with you. It's a confidential group. You can also send any prayer requests you have to prayerchaplains@unityofbellevue.org. If you would like one of them to talk with you or to pray with you, please put that in your message. This week, Wednesday at 1 o'clock, Living What Matters. Reverend Marla is leading us every week in a new spiritual practice using the Book of Soul by Mark Nepo. That is a drop-in free group. You can find the Zoom link and everything that I'm talking about in the chat and in the comments on Facebook. So join us for Living What Matters. Also this Wednesday is the first day of Metaphysical Bible that Reverend Marla is teaching beginning at 6:30. It is a fun, interactive class learning about the origins of the Bible and how to interpret it metaphysically. So all the information and registration is online and at the link. Please consider joining this great class for empowering your own spiritual path with more biblical knowledge that is unique to Unity. Happy Father's Day, happy Juneteenth, happy solstice. See you next week. Bye.
Ooh, Monica, right. Happy solstice. Oh my gosh, how could I have forgotten? Thank you, Monica. I'm glad you're with us. Gosh, you guys, as we prepare to close today, let me just say a couple more things. We have heard your voices in the survey about reopening. We are targeting reopening our building in August. somewhere between August 1st and 15th, we will reopen our building. It's still a little bit unclear exactly which Sunday it will be, but more will be revealed as we move forward. Please help us. We need your help to get our building reopened. We need to be ready. We have to be ready for company. You know how when you're having company over to the house, you got to clean up, you got to get ready, you got to do things. Yeah, we need some help cleaning up, getting ready for company to come. So if you'd like to help out, email Sabrina at, it's Sabrina M at unityofbellevue.org, and she will get you hooked up, and you will be blessed. I promise you, you will be blessed by helping out. So that's one thing. The other thing is, effective last week, if you weren't here, we did change how to join the prayer circle. You will have an opportunity as we close out. We're going to have one more song from Leah Morris, and right after that, there will be an opportunity to join the prayer room. You'll see it come up on your screen. You'll have to click to get into it. If you have any trouble with it, don't worry about it. Just stay on, and Sabrina will coach you, and she will make sure you can get into the prayer room. So let's listen to Leah's song, and then we'll take a 3-minute break, and then prayer circle will begin. One final song from Leah, and give her some thanks. She is just, she is everything and more, right? She is the express divinity of God moving through her.
Drop the oars in the water. Drop the oars in the water. Drop the oars in the water and let go. Drop the oars in the water. Drop the oars in the water. Ride with the flow. Drop the oars in the water. Drop the oars in the water. In the water. Drop the oars in the water. It's alright. Let go. Drop the oars in the water. Drop the oars in the water. In the water. We enjoy the ride. Drop the oars in the water, children. Drop the oars in the water, children. Drop the oars in the water, children. It's alright. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Drop the oars in the water, children. Drop the oars in the water, children. Drop your oars in the water. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the ride.
Sometimes I forget where I come from. Sometimes I forget where I'm going to. Sometimes I get so confused I lose my way. Sometimes I know you feel the same. Then I remember there is nowhere that God is not. No, no, no. There is nowhere that God is not. There is nowhere that God is not. No, no, no. 'Cause everywhere I am, I know what I've got. Sometimes I believe in what I see. Sometimes I believe what I perceive. Sometimes I get so confused I lose my way. Sometimes I don't know what to say. Then I remember there is nowhere that God is not. No, no, no. There is nowhere that God is not. Yeah, there is nowhere that God is not. No, no, no. 'Cause everywhere I am, I know what I've got. I forgot to pray, forgot to be still and know myself until I forget myself. Forgot to ask for help, I forgot to say a word. Forgot to believe in me, believe in my spirit world. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then I remember there is nowhere